Okay, folks, Jim Maley with another update here, and this is the first time this has ever happened in the history of the world, but this is actually my take 4. Just a little advice, don't ever do this at a construction site, not so much because of the noise, but mainly because everybody here is coming over to ask whether they should be doing this or doing that, or asking for things. Kind of here as the owner's rep, they're asking me all the details, which I'm not the architect, so I'm not the guy to answer all those questions. The public safety building is moving along pretty well. I think as most of you have seen it on Hatton Ave, we're very happy with the progress. We had some little difficulties getting started because of some old discarded construction debris that was under the building, the old building, but that's been cleared out and we're moving ahead now. The public safety building is going to be a great new operational addition for us, the communication system for us, little things like for the fire department about having facilities for women, a bit of an advance for us. It's a good time for us to finally be making that, leap into the future. But we're going to be able to move this kind of into the modern times in terms of communications in the event of problems and storms, and having some ability to do more work with our community. It's been a focus for the last 8 weeks about how we redefine what policing is and increase on community policing. I'll talk a little bit about this in a second, but Collingswood has been known for having the state-of-the-art operations. We were the first in the county to start a mental health crisis intervention team. Chief Garrity was a big tenet of his time here, and we supported that and we expanded that. We've been domestic violence crisis intervention teams for literally decades. We were first in the county. It even extends into offenders and the drug court, and trying to work with people who have even been convicted of the crimes to give them alternate ability to address what the issues are. So this public safety building is finally going to give us that ability to have the facilities that will help make those programs more efficient, better, look at ways to expand them. The facilities that we have been dealing with, we don't even have a thought about whether or not we can expand that and do anything inside, because there's just no room, and they're just not in a condition to allow members of the public free flow. Police facilities have to be pretty much tied up so that they're secure. At the building that we've been operating right now, it's only a secure facility. There's a 2x2 vestibule where the public can go. That's it. This will give us more opportunity to expand that. Last night we authorized the last bit of financing for us to get our furniture, computer system, security system. I think I mentioned already that bunk beds we've added, and bunk beds are, if you ever want to go into a good business, I think the bunk bed business is a good business because it's pricey. So all of that's being done. We think that the finances of this are going to tie in nicely. We may have some adjustments to make, but we are still very, very hopeful that this is going to be put in place without any major tax impact at all, because we have debt that is retiring, and because we have some additional revenues that are coming in as well. Some of those additional revenues will help offset that. Of course, the wild card this year, we've had this little thing called the pandemic that has wiped up parking fees for most all of the year, affected our sales of passes at the pool, affected a lot of our operations. Construction permits are down. Kind of everything where we collect some revenue is down right now, so it's going to have an impact. We're working on that. We'll be introducing a budget at a special meeting on July 28th. Public hearing will be in August sometime. We're waiting to get final numbers to get a better read on our revenues, also to hear what the county has to say in terms of an application we have there for the CARES Act funding. We're hoping to get reimbursed a lot of the additional expenses we've had as a result of this pandemic. We'll keep everybody posted on that. I'm sure the county will be putting word out about when they're able to distribute and make funding decisions on this. So on police operations, we announced last night that we are forming there's two things we're doing. We're forming a police chiefs advisory committee. It'll be made up of a representative groups of people from within our community, some from outside our community, from organizations like the ACLU, to kind of give help and advice to the police department, to review, critique how we're dealing with our community. There will be a special emphasis on race relations and how our police department is working to enforce the laws equitably. So we're excited to get that underway. We've already begun working on getting people to form an executive committee, and they will be working with members of the public, having some public meetings to have these discussions with respect to police operations, with respect to race. And we're also going to do just separate conversations. It may involve that advisory committee, but just community-wide discussions on race. We've enlisted the help of Custom Ed, which is one of the companies that works out of the Extraordinary Ed buildings. Many of you may not know, but Extraordinary Ed's business, but their other big business is Custom Ed. They do a lot of educational programs, facilitating of educational programs for the NFL, for very big companies. We've enlisted their help to help us facilitate that because it's never been done here in Collingswood. None of us have experience. We want to make sure we do it in a way that is effective and helpful and engages everyone in the community. We don't want anyone concerned that their children cannot interact with our police department without a concern for their safety. So that is, to me, that's the paramount. That's number one. I don't feel as though we've had many issues with it, but that does not mean that we can't buttress things and make sure that we don't ever have that, or at least we're doing everything we can to prevent it. So that's coming. That's happening right now. I'll fill you in just a few. We got a few new businesses coming in. Last night we started and also finished up some redevelopment processes. There's a veterinarian's office coming in and some pretty dilapidated buildings next to Krispy Kreme out on Cuthbert Boulevard. We're excited about that. There's a medical spa. Some doctors that have offices out in Voorhees are going to set up a second office on Haddon Avenue, kind of right across from El Sitio, near Haddon Hair Design. I think it's really appropriate because I know a nip or a tuck would not be a bad idea. But they're coming in there. Got a great reputation. We're really excited about what they're going to do with that business. And finally, there's a new business going into the tea shop that unfortunately had to close down. And we expect work to start very shortly in the parking lot next to Groove Ground. The building in the back is going to become, as they refer to it, an upscale pizza place. For those of you that feel we have too many Italian restaurants, I will just let you know that those are the restaurants where people stand outside in January to go in. So if you want to open any other kind of restaurant, I don't care, Martian food, whatever it is you want, come on out. We're happy to help you to get you in. These folks think they can make a go with, it's going to be a great building with, hopefully we'll have some concepts we can share with you shortly. Outdoor dining, the front half is going to stay up. We're going to make it a park. It's going to be a pocket park there. And so you'll have a little pocket park, and you look back and see the outdoor seating of this little restaurant and the restaurant itself in the back. It's going to really create a cool space in the middle of our downtown. Pandemic related, we're getting a lot of blasts out. Hopefully you're all up to speed. Sports are slowly getting back in a new way. The pool is reopened. People have been great. I really want to finish this today with just the biggest thank you. Our management team at the borough, Chief Carey, Chief Davis, Cass Duffy, Keith Hastings, have just done yeoman's work. We talk literally every day, going over what is happening in town and making changes. That they are supported by just the greatest borough team. Our Public Works Department, I mean, not only the pandemic, but we've gone through a horrible storm that took trees down into houses all over town. We've, as we've talked before, had issues with with water valves that have been breaking in a number of locations. They've done huge work for that, in addition to all the regular work that needs to get done, getting the grasses cut, doing all that has to be done. The library has done a great job implementing online services. They're pushing and trying hard to get reopened. They can't wait to reopen. Should be in another week or so. Our police department, of course, not only all the issues that have happened elsewhere that have had an impact, that they've had to pull extra duty to make sure everyone stays safe, but between police and fire, simply with the pandemic and us ensuring public safety throughout this time, just been a huge effort. And our staff at Borough Hall has just been killing it from home, rotating shifts in the office even when people cannot be there. They've done a great job. Bobby Rodriguez with our rec program has been just stellar. We always kid Bobby. He's the mayor of 911. It's all a horrible emergency, and that seems to fit perfectly when it really is an emergency. So we thank him for that. And I must say, the heads of the rec programs, our volunteers, people from the swim team, from Little League, from virtually every sport that's trying to get going. The extra work, it's a lot of work to run a rec program, but it is even more work when you have to write a new set of rules. And excuse me, these people have done fantastic work. I want to thank all of them. They have been primarily focused on the safety of our young people and the spectators and the families, and they've done a great job. And we just can't wait to get closer to normal as these things begin to evolve. And finally, to everyone in town, everybody's doing the best they can. We see a lot of masks out here. We really appreciate the work everyone has done. I urge you again, as I try to every one of these, look out for those people you do not regularly see. Make sure they are being taken care of. Kyle's Cares is available to help people who are in need. Just as recently as last week, we had another person that we were lending some assistance to. We want to be there to make sure. The folks here in town have been graciously generous with donating money, so we have the resources to help. So that kind of wraps it up for what feels like it's going to be a mighty steamy July day. Make sure you head on down to the pool. And thank you. If you have any issues or problems as the week goes on, don't hesitate to email us, call us. My email is jmaley, M-A-L-E-Y, jmaley at collingswood.com. You don't want to use the work address. It gets lost too easy there. Again, thank you to everyone for all of the work that they have done in helping us. Even though there's been a little bit of a tick or a leveling off in numbers, Collingswood's hanging in, and we will keep trying to keep everyone safe. All right? Thanks so much. Have a good summer.